Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Srimad Bhagavatam 3.9.13. Pumsam Ato Vividha Karma Bhir Advaradhyar Danena Chogra Tapasa Paricharyaya Cha Aradhanam Bhagavatas Tava Satkriyarto Dharmorpita Karhichit Mriyate Nayatra Pumsamato Vivita Karma Bir Advaradhyar Pumsamato Vivita Karma Bir Advaradhyar Danena Chogra Tapasa Paricharyaya Cha Aradhanam Bhagavatas Tava Satkriyarto Dharmorpita Karhichit Mriyate Nayatra Pumsamato Vividha Karma Bir Advaradhyar Danena Chogra Tapasa Paricharyaya Cha Aradhanam Bhagavatas Tava Satkriyarto Dharmorpita Karhichit Mriyate Nayatra Pumsamato Vivita Karma Bir Advaradhyar Danena Chogra Tapasa Paricharyaya Cha Aradhanam Bhagavatas Tava Satkriyarto Dharmorpita Karhichit Mriyate Nayatra Pumsamato Vivita Karma Biradvaradhyar Danena Chogra Tapasa Paricharyaya Cha Aradhanam Bhagavatas Tava Satkriyarto Dharmorpita Karhichit Mriyate Nayatra. Ladies. Pumsamato Vivita Karma Biradvaradhyar Tanena chogra tapasa paricharya yacha Aradhanam bhagavatas kriyarto Dharmo pita karichit mriyatena yatra. Pumsam, of the people. Ataha, therefore. Vivita, karma pihi, by various fruitive activities. Advara adhyaihi, by performance of Vedic rituals. Danina, by charities. Cha, and. Ugra, very hard. Tapasa, austerity. Paricharyaya, by transcendental service. Cha, also. Aradhanam, worship. Bhagavata, of the personality of Godhead. Tava, your. Satkriya artaha, simply for pleasing your lordship. Dharmaha, religion. Arpitaha, so offered. Karhichit, at any time. Mriyate, vanquishes. Na, never. Yatra, there. But the pious activities of the people, such as performance of Vedic rituals, charity, austere penances, and transcendental service, performed with a view to worship you and satisfy you by offering you the fruit of results, are also beneficial. Such acts of religion never go in vain. Purport. Absolute devotional service conducted in 9 different spiritual activities: hearing, chanting, remembering, worshipping, praying, etc., does not always appeal to people with a pompous nature. They are more attracted by the Vedic superficial rituals and other costly performances of social religious shows. But the process, according to the Vedic injunctions, is that the fruits of all pious activities should be offered to the Supreme Lord. In Bhagavad Gita 9:27, the Lord demands that whatever one may do in one's daily activities, such as worship, sacrifice, and offering charity, all the results should be offered to Him only. This offering of the results of pious acts unto the Supreme Lord is a sign of devotional service to the Lord and is of permanent value, whereas enjoying the same results for oneself is only temporary. Anything done on account of the Lord is a permanent asset and accumulates in the form of unseen piety for gradual promotion to the unalloyed devotional service of the Lord. These undetected pious activities will one day result in full-fledged devotional service by the grace of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, any pious act done on account of the Supreme Lord is also recommended here for those who are not pure devotees. Om Jnana Timirantasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshun Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manopistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupakoda Mahyam Tadhati Shapadantikam Mande Hang Shri Guru Shri Jatapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Shagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Stam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kamshana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Prashabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kolpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindho Pyevacha Patita Nam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sati Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Pum samato vivita karma vir advaradhyar danena jogra tapasa paricharya yacha aradhanam bhagavatas tavasat kriyarto dharmorpita karhichit miyate nayatra. So this is, on the other hand, yesterday we heard that the pompous, showy rituals and ceremonies performed by the demigods are not very pleasing to the Lord. Nati prasidati. Ati means very much, and prasidati means pleased. Na ati prasidati is not very satisfied by these things. Because Pridibhaddakamai, the heart is still full of material desires. So that's not so pleasing to the Lord. But Pumsamato Vividakarma Viradvaradhyar Danina Chogra Tapasa Paricharya Yacha Aradhanam Bhagavatas Tavasat Kriyarta Dharmorpita Karhichit Miyate Nayatra. Still some benefit is there. It's not all or nothing. Pure devotee or die. There's some appreciation, even for these fruitive activities or these Vedic ceremonies or pious activities, danena, ugra tapasa, they're all accepted when they're offered arpita bhagavata, when they're offered to the personality of Godhead. Then they're not useless. Neha vikramanashosti pratyavayo navidyate swalpamapyasya dharmasya atrayate mahatopaya. Whatever good thing one does is never lost. That's also there. What is that? The 6th chapter. Neha partana mutra vinashas tasya vidyate. Parthanaideha namutra vinashas tasya vidyate. Nahi kalyana krit kaschid durgatim tata gacchati. Arjuna asks, what happens to the yogi he doesn't succeed and becomes worldly minded? Isn't he like nowhere? He's given up his chances for material success and he's lost in the spiritual game? And Krishna says no. Parthanaiveha namutra vinashas tasya vidyate. He's not lost either in this world or the next world. Nahi kalyanakrit. Kalyanakrit means auspicious activities performed. Kalyan means auspicious activities. Kalyanakrit kaschid, a person who's performed auspicious activities. Durgatim tata nachvati. Durgatim tata gacchati. Never goes to a bad destination. Neha vikramanashtosi pratyavaya vidyate. Because whatever progress he's made is permanent. Materially, whatever progress we make is wiped out. If you get halfway to the goal and then the game is over, then that's it. Game over. And all your score is wiped out. So we do so much. We pursue education, we pursue economic development, family happiness, this, that, and then game over. One has to leave this world. And then everything is lost. Your education, your money, your everything. Wife, family, home. It's all lost. But spiritual credit is never lost. Therefore, Krishna says, again in the 6th chapter, that a person who's made progress in spiritual life automatically becomes attracted again. Avasho pisaha. Avasha means automatically, helplessly, he just becomes attracted again to spiritual life, Krishna consciousness, devotional service. Because he started in a previous life, now he gets the chance to continue. He may be born in a good family, Shuchinam, Srimatam Gehe Yoga Prashto Pajayate Atava Yoginam Eva. He may be born in a Vaishya family, Brahmin family, or in a family of transcendentalists. Purvabhyasena Tainaiva Priyate Havishobisa. Then because of his past activities, he automatically becomes attracted again. Let me continue this. What is this? What is this? Becomes attractive to him. So many people are not attracted. What are these stupid people doing? But a fortunate person, by dint of his past, Prabhupada calls it undetected pious activities, right? Unseen piety. The permanent asset accumulates in the form of unseen pious activities. These undetected pious activities will one day result in full-fledged devotional service. That's called a Gyata Sukriti. He did some good thing, maybe even unintentionally or without knowing it. Or knowingly he's performed pious activities. In India especially, people go to the Kumbh Mela, or people observe Ekadasi, or people go hear some Bhagavatam recitation because they think this is a pious activity. They think this is a pious activity. Or they'll do some puja. I was staying one time briefly in a hotel above the main street in capital of Krishna district in Andhra Pradesh. Krishna River goes there, so it's called Krishna district. And the street is all quiet, and in the morning you get up at our usual time and the street is deserted, then the first person to show up is the tea wala. He has his little cart and he's going to get ready for the day. And the first thing is that the puja, the tea wala does his little puja, waves some agarbatti and worships someone. So they're naturally inclined to pious activities. These pious activities one day will yield their desired result. And here there are various kinds, vivita karma bhi, various fruitive activities, and advaradya, performance of Vedic rituals, so ordinary activities, and then Vedic activities, then other pious activities, aradhana, worship, or rather dana, charity, ugra tapasa, severe penance or austerity. When these things are offered to the Lord, then they give value. The demigods, that's what they're doing. So, although it's not very satisfying, still some credit is there. And one day, one will come to the point. Therefore, in the 12th chapter, if you can't do this, do this. If you can't do this, do that. What is that? Atachittam samadhatam. Well, first, mayeva mana atatsva mayi buddhim niveshya. Nivasishyasi mayeva durvam nasanksha. Just completely dedicate your mind and intelligence to me, and you'll come to me. But atachittam samadhatum na shaknosi. If you can't do it steadily, atachittam samadhatum na shaknosi maikstira. If you can't fix your mind on me steadily, abhyasa yogena tato mamich chaptum dhananjaya. Then follow the process of sadhana, of abhyas, practice, so that you'll develop this strong desire. Yes, let me become Krishna conscious. Then abhyase pyasamartosi. Someone says, no, I can't practice. Then mat karma padamobhava. Then do some work for me. Do some service, some work. Do something for me. Just like we have that in our temples. Sometimes there are people who, they can't follow the regulative principles even, or they, chanting doesn't appeal to them. You pick up a bead bag and it's like, what am I going to do with this? But they'll like to do something. They'll help with the garden, they'll help with the accounts, they'll help with something. They may be big people or small people, but they want to lend a hand and do some service. Well, that's accepted. Krishna doesn't say, no. First, you agree to follow these 4 regulative principles, then you chant 16 rounds a day, then you can start to do something. No. If you come the other way, that's all right. You want to render some service, you want to help in some way. I mentioned the other day how our Jayananda Prabhu would engage someone. You know how to hit the nail? Help me pick up this piece of lumber. And even an ordinary person, he may not be very advanced in anything, but all right, let me help. That's accepted. Madartam api karmani kurvan siddhim avapshasi. By working for me, for my sake, you'll attain perfection. Gradually. Ataitat apyashaktosi kartum madhyogam ashrita. Now you can't even do that. You're unable to act, to do some work in relation to me. Then sarva karma palatyagam tata kuru yudatmana. Then, all right, then just act with detachment. Give up the results of your work, work as a matter of duty without attachment, and give the results for some good cause. Some philanthropy, social work, medical help, whatever. Help save the whales. Do something good. Use your money for others. Then gradually. So, of course, we don't lead with the last option. But wouldn't it be good if you helped save the whales? Sarva dharman pratyajya mamekam. Just surrender to Krishna. Just try to love Krishna. But, all right, if you can't do that, then do this. If you can't do that, all right, do this. Because gradually it will not be lost. Whatever nahi kalyana krit, whatever good thing you did, even if it was mundane good thing, you did it with detachment, even that won't be lost. It's not much, but something will be there. It's noted he did some pious activity. And then next life he may come, or sometime he may come to the point, why don't I do this for Krishna? Then, well, I'm doing this for Krishna, why don't I also chant? Then it comes to the point, why am I just chanting so mechanically, so dull? I have to develop my love for Krishna. And one day, by Krishna's grace, he may come to that point. So, from some, therefore, yat karoshi yadashnashi, that's the verse Prabhupada's talking about. Yat karoshi yadashnashi yadashnashi didasi yat tapasyasi kaunteya tat kurusha marapana. Whatever you do, yat karoshi, everybody's doing something. That can be offered to Krishna. Yat karoshi yadashnashi, whatever you eat, everybody's eating something. So first offer that to Krishna. Yaj Jahoshi. Jahoshi? What's Jahoshi? I should know. But you're giving away? Yeah? No, that's Tadasi. Jahoshi, whatever you offer. Or Jadasi, whatever you give away. Or yat tapasyasi. Yat tapasyasi, whatever tapasya you perform. Tat kurusha madarpanam. Do this an offering to me. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains that there's some people, they're more attached to the fruitive activities, but there's some bhakti mixed in. And other people, they're more attached to bhakti, but there's some fruitive activities mixed in. Either way, you get this mixture. But in either case, one can offer one's activities to Krishna. Krishna's asking, he's, as Prabhupada says, demanding. All right, I accept your demand. Whatever I do, whatever rituals I perform, or ordinary activities I perform, whatever I do, I'll offer that to you. Then what will be the benefit? Shubha Shubha Palayarevam Moksha Se Karma Bandhana. There are two kinds of results of activities. Shubh, Ashubh. Pious or impious, good or bad. Shubha and Ashubha. Shubha means fortunate or fortunate or, fortunate, auspicious or fortunate. So sometimes we work and we get a nice result, sometimes we work and we get a nasty result. So we're trying to maximize our good return and minimize the misfortune. But Krishna says both are unwanted. The good result, the bad result is miserable. The good result also leads to misery because it's entangling. I become attached to the good results of my pious work. And I have to continue like the demigods, continue in a heavenly planet or continue in a pious birth. Therefore, Shubha Shubha Palar Evam Mokshase. By offering everything to me, you'll be freed from the good and bad results, because now it's offered to Krishna. Before it was on my own account. Just like Krishna says, Yagyashishtasina Santa Muchante Sarvakilbisha. Those who eat food which has first been offered in yajna are freed from all sins. Bunjate te tukam papa ye pachantyatmakara. And those who cook and eat for their own happiness are just eating the reactions of their sinful activities. Therefore, patram pushpam palam, offer everything to Krishna. Then, moksha se karma bandhana. You'll be freed from both kinds of sinful reactions. Pious sinful reactions and sinful reactions. In the material world, pious and sinful are just two different kinds of sinful. One is trying to enjoy unrestrictedly, the other is trying to enjoy within restrictions. So within restrictions, that's called pious. And unrestricted, that's called sinful. But both are trying to enjoy separately from Krishna. Therefore, both are entangled. But when one offers everything to Krishna, moksha se karma bandhana, sannyasa yoga yuktatma, vimukto mam upaishasi. By this principle of detachment, sannyasa yoga, yuktatma, connecting up with me, vimukto mam upaishasi. You'll be freed from material entanglement and you'll come to me. So this principle is accepted, that, all right, I may have material attachments, but let me offer whatever I do to Krishna. Let me offer everything to Krishna. And then one is encouraged to, what is it? Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, give up the shackles of Maya gradually, something like that. The idea is gradually, let me move forward at least. And let me try to get free from my attachments, not hang on to them. Otherwise it's like the wedding party. They're rowing all night. You know the story? Huh. Okay. There was a wedding party in India. The system is that the bridegroom will go with his family members and friends to the bride's house. And there the bride's father arranges for the wedding and does the whole thing. And then the groom and his friends and relatives bring the girl back to his house, just as Kamsa was driving Devaki back to Vasudev's house. So there was a wedding party, a group of men who were on their way to the girl's house. And they came to a river. And evening was coming on, night was coming on, and the wedding is going to start next morning. So they're get to the river and they say to the boatman who's there, "Can you get us across? We'll pay you handsomely, just get us there." No problem. So everyone gets in, he begins to row, they all take rest. And then when they wake up in the morning, they see that they're all still in the same place. So then there's a big, big scene. What have you done? And this and that. And he's, I've been rowing all night. I've been rowing. Then finally someone discovered that the anchor was still in the water. So he'd been rowing all night. But no one went anywhere. So these attachments are the anchor in the water. And therefore we're advised to give up material attachments and become attached to Krishna so that we can make progress. Okay, what questions? That's one of the Namaparats, to maintain material attachments, in spite of hearing so many instructions. So we should try to give up material attachments and become attached to Krishna. Yes?
My question is it then possible for one to measure up his level of being materially attached? Because, even after practicing for a while, personally to say that I'm completely detached from him and lie to myself. So is there a way to measure up that material attachment?
Is there a way? Yeah, we can measure. I think Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that every fortnight or something you should take, make an account. How am I doing? I mean, generally, if we're thoughtful, we'll see. That I couldn't give up smoking, or I couldn't give up bad-mouthing devotees. Maybe I only did it 2 or 3 times, but it was... or, I really, I had to go see this movie, or I was doing everything nicely, offering everything to Krishna, but I was thinking that everybody will see how nicely I'm doing it, and probably they'll praise me afterwards that you're such a nice pujari. Or whatever the attachment is, someone's attached to gross sense gratification, someone's attached to praise and adoration, someone's attached to sex, someone's attached to sex on the subtle platform, in the form again of pride and false prestige. Someone's attached to money, someone's attached to this or that. So all of us, if we're introspective, we can look at it and say, how am I doing? We mostly know what our demons are. Sometimes we don't. Someone has to tell us. We can always ask, how can I improve? Otherwise, so often we know, this is my problem. Then we have to, as they say, chip away at it, work on it. And again, by positive activity, by positive engagement in the Lord, get free from the desire for glorification by glorifying Krishna, and the devotees get free from attachment to good food by wanting to offer the best food to Krishna, and so on. And okay? And if we have confidential friends, then we can ask them, how am I doing? Because usually it's not that hard to see. Well, if you want to know the truth.
Hare Krishna. In terms of offering, there is people out there, they will ask me when I'm trying to preach, like how to get peace. And because of they are not in the mood of chanting, they don't chant. Most of them, they don't know about the movement. I'm trying to introduce them to the movement. So they will ask me how to get peace, and I usually tell them to offer, especially water to the Lord. So I don't know if it's okay for me to tell them to offer everything to the Lord, because sometimes they utilize things like meat.
No, you can't offer those. First thing is, tell them, chant Hare Krishna. Worst they could say is no. What do they say? Nothing ventured, nothing gained. Give it a try. How can I attain peace? Well, why don't you try chanting Hare Krishna? Have you ever tried chanting Hare Krishna? What? What's that? Hare what? And then that's your opportunity to explain to them and tell them something and give them a book about it and so on. Why should we start at a lower place? Well, how can I attain peace? Well, be a nice person. Why start there? Just be a nice guy and you'll be more peaceful. No, take this chanting. What is that? Enechyo shoti maya nashi brahmani. Harinam maha mantra lautunima. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, I've got the medicine. You don't have peace? I've got the medicine. Harinam maha mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram. Take it. Give him the best thing first. Just like Krishna, he doesn't say, just try to be self-situated and do good work. And if you can do that, then try this. And if you can do that, then... No, it starts at the top. Just fix your mind and intelligence on me. Be always absorbed in me. Okay, if you can't do that, then do this. But the best thing is here. And just like in the store, if you're in business, what do they try to do? They try to sell you the top grade item first, right? They try to sell you the car with all the options, with all the, the top of the line vehicle with all the options and the most profit. And then you're kind of like scratching your foot on the ground and saying, well, you don't have to get all the options, Yeah, I know, but I don't know if I could afford this car. Well, we have another model. And then he moves down, and finally, you get a used jalopy or something. But he doesn't start there. He starts at the top. And if you say you can't afford it, or I don't know, then right. How about this? How about this? How about this? Now give them the chanting. Give them Bhagavad Gita, one of Prabhupada's books. Tell them they can get peace by chanting Hare Krishna, becoming Krishna conscious. Tell them, give them the top.
Maharaj, you were mentioning in your lecture of how a devotee who may not fully complete their path and in the next life is born with an attraction, a natural attraction. So I was thinking of a conversation I was having with a few young devotees who were born within the movement, and they were expressing that they feel sometimes very discouraged because they look at new people coming in. They feel they have the advantage because they within 6 months be chanting 16 rounds and taking initiation in a year, and whereas they find it very difficult to make those commitments. And yet we see that there's a natural attraction. So
well, they should capitalize on their good fortune. Here's a person who doesn't have the good fortune that you do, but whatever good fortune he has, he's capitalized on it. So you have, just like anyone born in the movement practically, he's naturally vegetarian, naturally loves prasadam, understands that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, gets the idea of devotional service, knows about good karma, bad karma, has all these assets. But you can't just, as they say, sit on your laurels. You can't just be content with your assets and then think that's going to carry you through. Capitalize on it. Prabhupada used to scold the Indians, when he'd lecture in India, that you have all this culture, you have this, but you're ignoring it. What kind of fools are you that you've got all these advantages, and these Germans and Americans and these other people, they're taking what you should get. You're neglecting your culture, and the foreigners are taking it up. I mean, where's your pride? These foreigners are taking it up, and you're neglecting it. So, what can we say? Those who are, why be discouraged? Why not just take it seriously and beat them? If the newcomers if a newcomer can make so much advancement, what to speak of you? But it doesn't happen automatically. I used to have a teacher, he said, "You think you're going to learn this by the process of osmosis?" If we apply ourselves, well, maybe, you can be better than all. Of course, every case is different. We have to see how we encourage people and not discourage people. But if you don't want to be discouraged, then take it seriously. What's the use? The exam's coming, you just say, "Oh, I'm discouraged." Study, practice, and succeed. Something else? Mm-hmm.
You're talking about 10 offenses and not having complete faith in the holy name.
Mm-hmm.
The holy name obviously can, eradicate whatever difficulties we're having. But I read somewhere where someone was saying that, Prabhupada knew that we wouldn't be able to just inherently have that faith in the holy name. That's why he gave us his books. And so, to help us, develop faith or something. I don't really understand, so how do we, I don't know. I didn't fully understand.
Not quite right. The Prabhupada understood that we wouldn't have faith in the holy name, complete faith, and that's why he gave us the books. The books are valuable on their own. The Sahajas think, books. We want, praying. All that matters is praying and nam and praying and nam and all that. And books, that's for Gyanis. For Gyanis, there are books. But Bhagavatam, Sukadeva Goswami said, "Pibata Bhagavatam," drink Srimad Bhagavatam, Rasamalayam, where all the taste of devotional service is there. It's not that these books are for those who can't quite get it. Those who are reading Srimad Bhagavatam, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam is as good as chanting the holy name. These are all pure activities. They're all pure activities. Those who are actually absorbed in chanting Hare Krishna relish hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. Prabhupada was chanting Hare Krishna. He didn't lack faith in the holy name. But he would in the afternoon sit and hear devotees reading Krishna book to him. What, just to set an example? He was relishing. These books are not on the platform of, well, if you can't do this, then do that. No. Now, Prabhupada did say, because we can't constantly chant, therefore I've invented so many engagements for them. That's true. Those who are accustomed can sit down and chant for an hour, 2 hours, 4 hours. Chant and be happy. If it's, they have that background, that culture. You can sit down and just chant Hare Krishna and enjoy. And, but us, after like 20 minutes, we're squirming. So therefore, we need to be kept busy in useful activities for Krishna consciousness. And so the japa is a minimum, at least 16 rounds. Otherwise, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, 64 rounds for everyone. But Prabhupada saw that we're not going to do that, because it's not in our background, not in our training, not in our culture. Otherwise, those who have that background, yes, 64 rounds. Why not? But as far as books go, Vayam tu navatripyama uttama shloka vikrame yat strinvatam rasagyanam svadu svadu pade pade. We never get tired of hearing this. Vayam tu navatripyama. We're never filled up. We never, okay, that's enough. No, it's uttama shloka vikrame. We're hearing transcendental glories of the wonderful activities of the personality of Godhead, who's praised with wonderful transcendental verses. Yat Trinvatam, those who go on hearing this, Rasagyanam, they really know what ras is. Svadu svadu pade pade, svadu svadu, they're just tasting and tasting. Pade pade, at every step. Not that, well, this is, if you can't chant Hare Krishna, then we have a Bhagavatam for you. No. The Paramahamsas were relishing Srimad Bhagavatam. Is that okay? Anything else?
Following the principles strictly, and they do a lot of practical service in the temple, but they don't take the next step of accepting the spiritual master and taking initiation.
So there's someone, they're following the regular principles, they're chanting, they're doing service, but they don't take the next step of accepting a spiritual master. So what's the question? Why would someone not do that? He may have different reasons. He may not have faith, sufficient faith that I see someone that I could give my life to with confidence. He may have doubts. He may have hesitations of various kinds. He may be a little lazy. That's also there. We're all, to some extent, lazy in spiritual life. So we think, just like the kids sometimes think, I just have to kind of use my baseline, live on my baseline level of Krishna consciousness that I inherited. I don't really have to do more than that. So then they stay on that level and they don't make progress. Or whatever level that we're on, we think, okay, I'm doing all right. I don't need to push myself. Various fears may enter into it. What if I do it and I can't stick with it? Or simply their determination or desire or confidence hasn't yet matured. Prabhupada didn't take initiation until a long time after he met his spiritual master. Now that doesn't mean we recommend, yes, you wait also 15 years. But if it takes longer for someone, it's not like we're a machine. I was in, where's that place? Amritsar. In Amritsar, where the Golden Temple is, that was actually Prabhupada's model, practically. He really appreciated how they distribute prasadam at Amritsar. In Amritsar, nobody goes hungry. Because at any time you can go to the Golden Temple and sit down and take full prasadam. Full prasadam. And everybody sits and as much as you like. So Prabhupada very much appreciated that our temple should be like that, just full prasadam any time of the day or night. And they have all sorts of arrangements for supplying that, preparing that prasadam, and they have groups of people who sit and cook chapatis and this and that. They also have a chapati making machine. You put the dough in one end, and you get chapatis out the other end. It's a big machine with a conveyor belt and this and that, and that's how it works. It's an amazing arrangement. So ISKCON's not a chapati making machine in which people are, after a certain interval, that they become chapatis. All the same size, all the same consistency. Everyone's an individual. So some people, right away, they want to be initiated, and we have to say, whoa, maybe you want to learn a little bit more about the philosophy first before you commit yourself, so that you know what you're doing, and it's not just sentiment. And someone after years, he's still not moving forward in that way. So, of course, we encourage people. Sometimes we may ask them, I see you've been here 14 and a half years and you're still not getting initiation. Is there a reason? And we may encourage them, or we may, whatever, as the case deserves. But it's not that we give up, or we consider it like a failed case. Some people even never get initiated, but still whatever they do is wonderful. And some of them do a lot. Somehow they never get initiated, but they do so much service. So we don't reject that. No, you didn't get in. I was at one place, one temple, and they have a very sort of enthusiastic, and you might even say aggressive, system for cultivating people. And one lady asked me, when someone's been coming for a long time and they don't get initiation, I feel like I've failed Guru Maharaj. But that's unnecessary. It's not that these are failure cases. They're all making progress. They're all getting benefit. And we try to see the individual person and encourage them in whatever will help them make spiritual progress. Maybe they need to be introduced to somebody that's, simpatico, compatible with their way of thinking, or something. Maybe that, or whatever it may be. Is that okay? Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you don't want to upset the balance at home, because like some members of the family, if they feel that if they get initiated, then the family members themselves will see them differently, and just to keep the balance at home, they remain in the
they may have that concern that if I get initiated but my wife doesn't get initiated, then everything will go cockeyed. And sometimes our spiritual masters say, well, wait till your wife is ready or your husband is ready, and I'll initiate you both. Sometimes like that. And sometimes the person thinks, or he's advised, I can't wait for this lady forever. Or I can't wait for this guy forever. I've got a life too. I've got to make progress. So, therefore every case is individual. Everyone's determination and situation is individual. Thank you. Shall we stop here? Okay, thank you. And Krishna Balaram are waiting to see you. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.